There are some crazy things that God will ask you to do in your life. If you're single, it could be easy. But if you're married, this could be very, very, very tricky because having the right partner will determine whether you missed out on what God has for you or not. So, if you're ready to find out, stick around as we dive deeper into that and try to explain what happened to us because you'll need to understand um, what we went through. And if you're going through something similar, then this will be an encouragement for you. So we'll see you soon. Every day. Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
We're back.
We are back.
We're excited to be back.
Yes, we are. We made it.
We look forward. Yeah, it's been a rough day for her. We almost didn't shoot this episode. She wasn't feeling well, but by the grace of God, we're here.
Yes, we are.
And every time we get a chance to come here and glorify the Lord through a testimony in our lives, we give him thanks and we give him glory.
That's right.
So we're here. Welcome. We're happy that you're here. And as always, we welcome you. This is a safe place for us to share our testimony for other people that we hope to bring in to share their testimony. And we hope that all the testimonies that are being shared here encourage you, uplift you, and bring you closer to God, knowing that he is able to do anything, to get you out of anything, to bring you out of anything.
Yeah.
And we hope that, every testimony is faith building for you, for whatever you're going through in the season and in your life. So, this is Testimony and Blessings. And this is episode 3, I believe. It feels like we've been recording a lot longer than that. But we're here. And we're excited. Trial and errors. And we keep learning, y'all. We keep learning. And we're excited. So, last time we kind of left off talking about, God's provision being, wherever he's going to send you. And, of course, in our human nature, not knowing what does that always look like. Mm-hmm. We're always scared because everyone is scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
But obedience, is better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we thank him for getting us to that place of obedience where we were able to, be obedient and say yes, even though we didn't know what that yes was gonna bring us, and it didn't take long for that to start happening.
Yeah.
So once we said yes, and obviously, we talk a little bit about, fixing our credit. Mm-hmm. And another thing that we started doing was saving. Obviously, if you're going to move and you're, to a place that you don't know anything or anyone, right? And because we were moving, we said we'd rather own a house than rent one.
Yeah.
So we started, shifting our mindset so we can plan for that. And we were doing okay. We cut down a lot of things. And we made it clear to all of our friends.
We became the no friends.
We were like, listen, y'all, anything y'all got going on, if it involves money and traveling,
I'm sorry,
don't even bother.
We can't be part of it.
Don't even bother. Because the answer is always going to be no, we cannot.
Yeah.
And now, in maturity, like thinking about it, that's being responsible.
Yeah.
It didn't always seem like, they didn't want to hang out with us. And they probably may have thought that. But for us, we understood that we had something to do. And we had to do what we had to do.
I think what made it hard for some of them, it's that they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
That made it hard because
Yeah.
when you're always getting no, 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 and you don't know why, you know.
Yeah.
Now they have context. Now they understand why we were saying no. But
Because
back
we couldn't
then,
tell anybody.
exactly.
We were literally told not
Back
to,
then, we
to
couldn't,
tell anybody.
we couldn't tell them, okay, we're saying no for this reason.
Even our
Yeah.
parents
So,
didn't know.
it
God
was-
literally told us to move and said, I need you to do this and quiet, like quietly, and no social media post,
Yeah.
no telling anybody until the time is right.
Yeah.
And yeah, that came with a lot of, I can't, we can't, sorry, can't, sorry, we're not available, sorry, we cannot. And,
I felt bad.
I mean, I did to some extent, but also I think what encouraged me the most was it didn't affect us. You know what I mean? Because we had that mindset and we knew what was being asked of us. And once we
Absolutely.
said yes and
Yeah.
accepted that, it didn't affect us to where we're like, oh, yo, we literally cannot do anything because we can afford to.
No.
Anything, any little thing we had, we were putting to saving.
Yeah.
And we're doing good. And then the Lord dropped the message into our spirit. And my man said, I will strip you of everything you have until you completely depend on me.
This was a what moment.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was like, okay, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Yep.
We're doing our part.
Right. It's like, what more can you possibly ask?
We're doing our part. We might as well just keep, the bad habits that we had and, go out with
Seriously.
our friends and enjoy life.
Yeah.
We're doing all this and you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to take it all away.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And we're like, what does that mean? And we didn't, again, y'all gonna hear us say this a lot. Like, we didn't know what that meant.
Nope.
And that was like the theme of everything he was asking us to do. And we started feeling it.
Yeah.
We started feeling it. I'm trying to remember what came first. So our parents were, so in our branches of church here, and there's a branch in Orlando, and they knew of this guy, this Haitian guy that used to work for Bank of America, and he started his own thing, and he started an investing platform
right.
company, right? And they knew a lot of people that were doing it and that was getting, profit out of it. And obviously with everything else, word of mouth, right? If I know of something, I tell you, you're gonna trust that thing because I tell you because you trust me, right? So my parents were doing it for a few months. My aunt, friends and stuff like that, people were doing it, and we were saving on our own. And then, once we got to like, it was like what, almost 10 grand, and my dad was like, I know you guys have planned to buy a house because you guys are always talking about it. Why don't you invest your money because you'll get return a lot faster and that money will grow. And I realize now when I think about what had happened, I never prayed on that decision.
No, we didn't. We just thought it was a good idea.
We thought it was a great idea. Hey, look, we put that money in. You're getting 5% every 2 weeks back on that. Why not? Like from the time we said yes to whenever we had to move, that could set us up to have a good saving.
Yeah.
To do what we got to do. And so I was like, all right. So I told my dad, set me up with the guy, one of the guy that was helping them. And I said, set me up, let me have a call and kind of hear what he got to say.
Yeah.
And I took the call, and everything sounds good. Again, because we're focused on, how can we save more and get what we need. I was like, all right. So the guy set me up, and I put all the chips in the middle of the table. Went to Bank of America. You had to do, get the bank account because it was a large sum amount of money. You had to go to the bank, and they had to do it buying Bitcoin, and then from Bitcoin get transferred to the account and stuff like that. And And that was, 2 weeks later. For two
Yeah.
weeks, everything looks fine. I was like, all right, at least we know our money's there. It's gonna grow. Blah blah blah. 2 weeks later, y'all.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Breaking news. It was all a scam.
We got scammed, y'all.
Almost $10,000 we were saving as
Yeah.
a down payment for a mortgage. Scammed. And I remember thinking, yo, if I had waited 2 more weeks, that thing would have happened. I would have known about it, and I would never invested my money. But it had already happened, and I didn't blame my dad. Or I didn't blame anybody. I was mad, of course. And who would be happy losing almost 10 grand,
Yeah.
right?
But we took a risk.
We did. We took a risk, and again, like I said, now reflecting back, I realized I never prayed. And that's what usually happens when you don't invite God, whether in
Yeah.
your small, decision or your big decision, in your life in general, you don't invite Him, things like this tend to happen.
And also another thing, just because it's good, that doesn't mean it's God.
There you go. Just because it's good,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's God. And we learned that.
Oh yeah.
And we had to start from scratch.
Yeah, that was hard.
From scratch, not knowing when we were gonna move, like. And at the time, once we said yes, we're like by next summer. So we're like, okay, we only have a few months now. We lost everything. How do we make up by the time summer comes around to move? So we started all over. We started saving little by little, and we started all over. And then number 2 hit. It was that December.
What was number 2 again?
Number 2 was when we gave that offering.
Yeah, that was December.
December?
Yeah.
So our church was doing first was it first offering? Is that what they
It
call
wasn't first offering
First fruit.
yet. Yeah, it was.
It is
Was
first fruit.
it first fruit?
First fruit.
No, it wasn't first fruit yet.
No? What was it?
It was. They were asking.
Or was that end of the year?
It
offering?
wasn't end of the year.
What
Wait,
was
yes,
it?
it was end of the year. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
end of the
First
year.
fruit was
Yes.
after the
Yeah.
fast.
So end of
It was end of the
year offering, and we talk about it as we always do as a couple, and I'm we're like we don't have anything obviously. And
Wait, no, this is how it started. In my prayer time, I felt convicted that we should give something.
right,
That is like.
right, because we weren't sure like what we were gonna give, if we would even have enough to give.
And remember when I told you and I
Yeah.
said, I don't have a number yet.
Yeah,
Pray about it.
yeah.
And then we ended up.
So God told her we need to give a significant amount of for our offering,
Yeah.
but He didn't give her a number.
No.
The word significant was the main point of it all.
Yeah.
And she told me
But
about
I
it.
had a number in mind. I just didn't
Right.
tell you yet.
She didn't tell me.
Because I knew you'd freak out.
She said, "Go pray about it, so the Lord can reveal to you whatever it is that we have to do."
Yeah.
And I did. And as with everything, I prayed. And I remember a few weeks later, we're watching service, and I remember this very vividly. We're both standing in front of the
Sink. Yep.
the kitchen sink, and then we're listening to sermon. I don't know what we were doing. I was probably getting
washing
ready for
dishes.
work
You were
or
getting
something.
ready for work. Yeah.
And then Pastor John was like, and I got an answer by that point. And I'll be honest, okay? We say this is a safe place. We can talk about anything and be transparent. When the Lord gave me that number, I was like, I'm not going to tell her.
For the same reason, I was like, I'm not going to tell him. He's going to freak out.
I said, no, but that's not for the same. My reason was, I'm not going to tell you because I'm hoping your number was less than mine.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Once the Lord gave me that number, I was like, you know what? I hope her numbers is less than mine because we can't do this.
I was scared because I'm like, if I tell him this is what we're supposed to give, this man is gonna freak out on me. So I'm not gonna say anything. I'm like, Lord, this is all on you.
So we're like, all right.
That was nice.
And then in that service, we're both standing there. We're listening to service before I go to work, and Pastor John says, "I need all the men to give $1,000." And I looked at you, and I said, "On three, we have to reveal what our number was." You remember?
He ended up, I think it was 2,000.
Yeah. But you had 1,000, I had 1,000.
Yep. Yeah.
And we both said 1,000. I was like, oh my God, yo. And she was like, what? I'm like, I was hoping your number was less than mine.
Oh my goodness.
So we're like, okay. Since the men had to give 1,000 and you were given 1,000, and we said we'll give $2,000.
First, I mean, I know like for some people they might be like it's just $1,000 or it's just $2,000.
For us, it was everything.
That was
Again,
like,
we lost everything.
yeah.
You know, so for us, this was everything.
That was the little thing that we started putting together, and then he's like, "Yeah, give that to me."
So we're like, okay, I guess we'll do that. And again, obedience is bigger than sacrifice, greater than sacrifice. So we were obedient, and we gave $2,000. That $2,000 was from what we started over.
Yeah.
So we had to start
Over again.
over again.
Yeah.
We've been on a journey, yo. We've been on a journey with the Lord. And we're like, okay. So then we started over again. Third slap. That's what I'm going to call them, slaps.
Oh yeah.
Divine
that one was
slaps.
funny.
First food offering.
Yeah,
comes.
that one was good.
Oh, also on a Sunday.
If God was a prankster, I would say that was a good.
That
prank.
was a good one. And yeah,
But he's
and we're going to
not.
tell you guys why.
He's not a prankster.
So, first food offering, again, we have nothing.
Yeah, I remember feeling so
Yep.
bad.
And so I got up, went to work.
But
you
did we
were
give
at
what,
home,
$20, $50?
something like that, right? And I remember listening to the service because I would go into the store before the store opened just to kind of set up. And I always have my AirPods and setting up, listening to service before we open the store. And I remember in that moment, Pastor John was like, wherever you are, if you're at home, grab your family, hold your hands, your kids, your wife, hold their hands so you can give together. So I texted my wife. I said, I'm not home, so make sure you're holding the kids. Mm-hmm. I'm with you guys in spirit, and we're going to do this together. And I remember I was sweeping, the floor, just trying to get things ready. And I felt that heavy feeling of, Lord, I don't have enough to give you.
And I was feeling
that
the same
little
way.
that little that I have, I don't even want to give it because it doesn't feel like nothing.
Yeah.
And then you were feeling the same way.
Literally.
Like you told me when I got home. When I got home, so together we said, okay, let's give it. We give whatever we had. And I went about my day feeling, guilty. And then I got home around 5:30 because Sunday they close at 5. Around 5:30, and that Sunday they were gonna have a second service in the afternoon, like a deliverance service, right? And before the service, so I got home and she told me how she was feeling. I was like, oh my God, I was feeling the same way.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like sitting there, feeling bad together, right? And right before the service was supposed to start at 7, around like 6:30, I got a text message. I was like, what is that? So I looked at the phone and it said, someone zailed you. I was like, okay. I mean, I ain't mad at it. It's money, right? I looked at it. It was $1,000 someone sent to us. When I opened the text and I saw it was my cousin. So I was like, this must be a mistake. I was like, yo, this must be a mistake because this never really happened, right? So we called her and put her on speaker, and I said, "Hey, how are you?" and stuff like that. I'm like, "I just got a Zelle from your husband. Did you guys make a mistake? Were you trying to do something and then you accidentally sent us money?" And then she burst out crying. I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
She said, the store, the history behind First Fruit was the people that were giving to the church would use that money to feed the community, their community, right? And she said, "You guys have always been my
My
community.
community, yeah.
So instead of giving to the church,
I'll give
I'm
it
going to
to you.
give it to you."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Okay, thank you." And we're like, "God, thank you." We could use every penny, every dollar. We can use everything right now. So we're spending time talking on the phone, and she's explaining to us, and we're thanking her, and she's in tears, and we're feeling grateful. And then service about to start, so we're like, we'll call you back later. We're gonna watch service. Service started great, and in the middle of service, it was someone they invited for the service. He was talking. He said, this is First Fruit, and some of you right now in the room, there's 10 of you, could be more. God is asking you to give $1,000. Specifically, that number that we just received. I was like, what?
Sometimes people say things that doesn't mean you feel anything by it. Like
We felt
they
convicted.
people can say, okay, 10 people meant to give
Right.
$20,000. That doesn't mean you're gonna give it. That doesn't mean that's gonna push you to give $20,000. But it was just like we both felt the
We felt
conviction,
convicted.
like hard,
We felt convicted.
like we can't keep that money.
And I remember we're sitting, again, because we live in a small little apartment, like downstairs in the basement, everything was just one. We had the sink, we have a little empty space, and then we have a living room, right? It's just one open space. So we just split it to make it look like, comfortable and homey. And we had a futon that we opened up and slept on because, we only had one room. So we made that room for the girls. So, the bed was open and we were just, sitting on it watching TV. And I remember looking straight at you and I said, man, I guess we're giving over $1,000.
And
I was like, that money came quick and left quicker.
quicker.
I've never
Yeah.
experienced that before.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, what is happening?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, right there, right then and there, we sold that $1,000. And we never told my cousin, what happened. I mean, later on we told her. But we're like, and then we started to think back of what he said. I will strip you of everything that you have until you completely depend on me. I was like, Lord, I didn't know that's what you meant. 'Cause I'm like, now what? That's $10,000, 2,000. So that's 13 grand. Because the first one was almost 10,000. It wasn't, exactly 10,000. So I'm like, that's almost 13 grand that we could have used for this move. Because we have to rent a truck. We have to buy boxes. We have to, so much things that we have to do, and we don't have no money. But we're like, you know what? Because you told us to do this, we're just going to trust you. And we just kept trusting him.
Yeah.
And then we just kept losing stuff.
Yeah. Which is hard.
We just kept losing stuff. And honestly, in that moment, it wasn't a great feeling.
No, it wasn't.
Because not only was confusing to say yes to the unknown and not knowing what that unknown is.
Yeah.
Now, the little that you felt secure, right? That even if you don't know the unknown, at least you know you have a little something.
That word. And I think that's why he was doing that. That false sense of security. I think he had to remove that.
He had to remove that.
He
But at the
had to
time, we
remove
didn't,
that.
like, not that we weren't on board, but it was like, it wasn't clear, you know what I mean? But it just started to click once we just started losing stuff. We're losing stuff. We're losing stuff.
But he was training us. We didn't know
Yeah.
why yet. But
Yeah.
he was preparing us for something. We
Yeah.
just didn't know.
Yeah.
All those little habits that he was taking away, because we weren't the type that are like, what's the word, when you like, we don't want to spend money, or like we don't want to, but we understood that we were in a situation where we needed every little bit of money that we can get. So because of that, we were like this with what we have, and we were just trying to make it,
Literally. We held
even
them
more. Yeah.
closed fist.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we know, okay, you're asking us to move. We have to do our part. Like, we were so focused on we have to do our part. And we thought that providing that, at least, that, foundation financially was doing our part. But I think doing our part was pretty much being on board with everything that he says.
Yep.
Every detours, every, stops, every setbacks, everything that we felt like, oh my gosh, I'm moving forward, and then you take 10 steps back, and it was just hard. It was like a roller coaster
It was frustrating, man.
time for us, but he was training us.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to be a straight path with God.
Nope.
It's never going to be a straight, but he's going to take, there are going to be curves and detours and all these things, and you have to be on board.
And also now we we get to hear the saying, in order for God to give you something or for you to receive something got to go.
Yeah.
And we had habits that had to go.
Yeah. Absolute mindset.
The false security
Yeah.
of, at least we got something had to go, because you cannot fully trust God
if you have a
by
plan,
having
if you have a
something.
plan B.
You can't. It's not going to work, because the focus is never going to be on your faith. It's going to be on what you have.
You have a plan B.
A plan B. And he was trying to take that away for us to truly walk into fully depend on me mode.
Yeah.
Because as much as, yes, we were depending on him, but we were also depending on the little that we had.
In the back of our heads,
Yep.
we still had,
You know what I mean?
at
Like,
least
if
we have
something
this.
happens, we have a saving.
That created a space for us to doubt God.
Yep.
Because we were thinking, in case God doesn't show up, like we thought he would, at least we have that. And one thing that all these experiences have taught me is that the saying, we walk by faith, not by sight, is harder than you think.
Oh, yeah. And most people don't even experience that.
We say it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
It does sound
It's
good.
just a
It
saying.
sounds deep.
It's a
It sounds
Christian-
spiritual. It
it's a
sounds
Christian
Christian.
things to say.
But it is harder when you really have to walk by faith. When you can't see where you're going financially, you can't see anything, and you have kids to worry about. I always tell him, if it was just the two of us, okay, yeah. But we have 2 children to worry about. Then we had to think, who gave us the children?
Yep.
Who's going to give us the means to take care of them?
Yep.
So, it was a daily, commitment to really
It's like
renew our minds
Yep.
and think about, okay, this is not about us. God is leading this, and we just need to follow. We need to follow.
And we had no choice.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
at that point, we pretty much lost everything.
We were standing on nothing.
Literally. What a journey it's been.
Yeah.
But all in all, the lesson of trusting God was an eye-opener for us, because never in our lives before have we experienced what that meant. Mm-hmm. And he was adamant about teaching us what it is and how to do it. Mm-hmm. And looking back again, I just thank God for putting obedience in us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, we just kept starting over and over and over. And we just started saving little by little, little by little. And you know, and we didn't have much at all, because then we started buying boxes, you know, we started making plans and stuff like that. And so the little that we were saving, we were also taking out of, and on top of everything else, the bills, the rent,
Yeah.
and the taking care of two kids, and doing nothing but just keeping in the word, continuing with our devotion, prayer,
Yeah.
all these
And
things,
trusting him.
and trusting him that, okay, if you say then we have to completely depend on you, then we have no choice but to completely depend on you.
You know what I love about God? You know, when those teachers that you have that, you know, when it comes to time for you to take your exams, they'll like kind of give you a cheat code,
Yeah.
you know? They kind of give you the exam, but like reward it for you to practice. So you know, like even though they taught the class, it was your job to learn as much as you can and study, but
Yeah.
they still give you like a cheat code on how to, you know,
Yeah.
pass the exam and make it easier. And I feel like God always does that for us.
Yeah.
He doesn't just tell you this is the standards or this is the requirements and then just leave you. He helps you. In your weaknesses, he helps you. In your, you know, like confusions and doubts and unbeliefs, like he'll send reinforcement. All those sermons that we would, you know, stumble upon on YouTube like randomly, that were like sermons from 2 3 years ago before our, you know, and they were just like so encouraging
Yeah.
and keeping us. It was just so good. It was
Yeah.
like he puts together a curriculum for us
Yeah.
to just keep us on track.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just such a beautiful
And
thing.
we're gonna talk about this a
Yeah.
lot more, you know, like the different ways that he was speaking to us, and how, you know, he kept encouraging us, making sure we heard his voice, and and we had the discernment to know it was him speaking.
Yeah.
And that's what got us to, you know, really not giving up or moving backwards on, you know, this whole, okay, we have to move to a place that we have no idea
Yeah.
where we're going.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing to see. So yeah, we lost everything,
Yeah.
and we kept starting over and over. But sitting here now, everything paid off.
Man. Uh, and this is where the whole, you know, we're either crazy or God is real
We're
thing
either
came from.
crazy or God is real.
Because I'm like, if it was us making up, first of all, we're not that smart, guys. We're not. To make up that kind of story and let it play out, you know, like we couldn't, you know? So I'm like, if it was us pretending or like
Well, if it was, if
making up some story that God spoke to us and told us to move to South Carolina when it truly wasn't God, we wouldn't be here.
of course, and also, thank you for bringing that up, because we haven't really talked about this in a while. That's our mantra, and if you guys watch the first episode, like, or the invite, you know, we have this saying every time, you know, God asks us to do something. This is the thing we always say to each other. And I would always be like, yo, we're either crazy, and then you'd be like, or God, is,
God
real.
is real.
And then
Yeah.
we would do it by trusting him. And this is literally what was happening through after we lost the money, right? And then the first offering, the $2,000, we had nothing. That's all we had. So once that, you know, that Sunday we got confirmation, and we both spoke the same number, and we're like, yo, we're either crazy at this point or God is real. So because we've experienced him and we know he's real, then we give the offering. Same thing. The other $1,000 that was literally sent to us from 1 minute, the next minute, they're like, okay, there's 10 of you, that exact same amount of number, you have God is asking you to give that money. We're like, we're either crazy, because we literally don't have, again, we have nothing, and someone just gift us $1,000. We're either crazy for giving it away right away, or God is real and He's gonna reward us everything back.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. We're either crazy or God is real.
Yeah.
And that is the point of this podcast, to shed light on that through our experience and our testimony, and our testimony is still being written.
Yeah.
And we're excited to continue to share that with you guys. So
And one thing is that no matter what your journey has been or is, no matter what the storyline is, it's still gonna be a whoa,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
God doesn't do anything small. He doesn't.
Yeah.
So, our story is different. Your story might be different, but when we sit together and talk about it, it's gonna be like, what?
Yeah. It's gonna make sense.
It's because these things are these are the things that could really drive you insane or make you depressed. And here we were going through all these things. Nobody knew what we were going through.
Yeah. And
All
we
we
just kept
knew
our
is
faith.
that we're moving
We're trusting Him and we're doing
because
what He tells
God
us
called
to do.
us to move. That's what's gonna happen. And it was hard, watching losing, the things that you worked so hard to put together, like losing them, where you had to, keep yourself from certain things and not enjoying certain things just so you could, save up and to see, not the offering. We don't regret the offering, but like
No.
that sum of money
That, yeah.
that we lost, like that was hard.
That one He just took away from us. He didn't even ask.
That was
He
hard.
just took it.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we're just gonna trust you because
So
this is everything we have is yours. So if you take it away, then you must have something better.
yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, and sometimes that's how it is with God. What you holding on to, you think it's so good, it's so beneficial, like that's your life saving, that's this, that's that. God will ask you to give it away.
Yeah.
Because he wants your hands empty.
Yep.
So he can drop
He can't give you
the next
anything
big,
if your fist is closed.
Exactly.
So that's for some of you out there.
Yeah.
If you're holding on to something God is telling you to let go of, let it go.
Our
by
hands
holding
should
on,
always be like this,
Yep.
no matter what we're holding.
By holding on, you're missing out on the things He's trying to drop in your hands.
Yeah.
So let it go.
Yeah.
Because if you let it go, then that tells Him that you can take it anytime. We learned that. You can take it anytime. This is mine. You can't take it. And if you read Scripture and you understand Scripture, we're all stewarding everything in our lives, our children, our marriage, our finances, anything is just stewardship of, what He give us. So it all belongs to Him.
If you come to a house and if you say, that's Val and Cece's house, one of my daughters will say, no, that is Jesus's house.
Yeah. As we taught them, and we want them to understand
Yeah.
that.
And even if you tell her that's your house, she'll say, no, that's Jesus's house.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we should see everything that we
Everything.
have. Our marriage is not our marriage.
Yeah.
We're in it for the glory of God. Our children, it's not my child. It's God's
child.
children that we're, managing, that we're discipling, that we're stewarding. So this house, not our house.
Yeah.
It's for Him. Like that's one thing we always pray, like whatever we have, God, or marriage or lives or children, they all belong to you.
yours.
It's all yours. You do whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
It's hard though. Be careful what you pray. No, that's a good prayer to pray, but you have to prepare yourself for what comes with it.
Yeah. And we learned that the hard way. Again, with so many to get into. But yeah, this is it for this one. Our roller coaster on God asking us for so many things and taking over so many things, and we thank Him for again putting obedience in us, and we're able to do that and experience Him in that level. So thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah. And one last thing. I know sometimes when you're hearing a testimony, you're waiting for the good part. Like the process is also as important
Yep.
as the destination.
Yep.
This was a process. And maybe someone is in that same process and they're confused. They don't understand why. We just wanted to encourage you and let you know that we've been through the same thing.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yes.
Don't give up.
That's all you have to do.
Don't throw in the
Keep
towel.
trusting. Keep
Don't throw in the
believing.
towel.
Keep
Because
trusting, keep believing.
yeah.
And if God really says it, He's gonna
do it.
He's gonna keep reminding you that I said it, daughter.
Yep.
That's my plan for you. He's not just gonna leave you in your confusion. So
And He's gonna
don't
do
get
it.
discouraged.
Keep going. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time for the next episode.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel.
No.
Just keep pushing and keep believing and have faith.
Yes, thank you for hanging out with us.
This is Testimony and Blessings.
Testimony and blessings. Where they're crazy,
or God is real.
or God is real.
And with that, we sign out. Peace.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you're watching and if you're listening to Testimony and Blessing Podcast, please subscribe, hit the notification button to make sure you never miss anything, and please share our videos to someone that you know may benefit from it. We really appreciate you. We thank you for your time. I thank you for following us. We love you. Peace.